All right, ladies and gentlemen, good Wednesday morning. Welcome aboard day 3 of our free full throttle training and trading here at Top Gun Options. I'm always fired up, but I am extremely fired up to give you the brief that you're going to get this morning. How many of you woke up today full of gratitude, man? How many of you woke up and said thank you to something? To God, the universe, Mother Earth, your dog, your cat, your bride, your husband, your children, somebody or something. I know I did. Got to wake up full of gratitude, man. Like we talked about the other day, I need to make money. Well, if you got a roof over your head, running water, some food, a computer, and an internet connection, you are blessed. You don't need anything, man. I mean, it's nice to make money, but need comes from a place of lack. When you show up to invest, you show up to trade from a place of gratitude. And, man, God, thank you for everything I have right now. Good things are going to happen to you. Trust me. I guarantee you this is coming from experience. One of the worst places I spent my time on this planet was at a trading firm in Chicago. Going from the ready room of a fighter squadron where you trust the men and women with your life, or they're not part of that organization for long, to a Wall Street firm where I couldn't trust people to watch my wallet when I went to the bathroom for 5 minutes. These people would push their own mother in front of a bus for $1. And I'm not joking. And some of the most miserable people that I experienced are the richest. Multi-billionaires. If you know the firm I worked at, you probably know the two people who own it. And let's just say the most miserable people I've met on this planet are the richest. The richest in what? Money. Things. Well, guess what, man? You're not King Tut. You're not a pharaoh. They're not throwing a bunch of cash and jewelry and cars in your casket when you go. So I love the really rich, every once in a while you see a really rich person. They're like, my mission objective is to die penniless. So I'm going to give it all away to like my last day and I don't want to dime. That's pretty damn cool. So you'd bet Teresa, there's Teresa. Everybody say good morning to Teresa. Teresa is one of our stewards at Sacred Warrior Fellowship. We're going to talk about that today as well. So after waking up grateful, what did I do, man? I meditated, and we're going to talk about this today. I took my microdoses, right? Took my microdose, and then I just got back from hot yoga, a 60-minute vinyasa. This sets me up for the trading day, right? If you wake up, throw in some coffee, put on your bunny slippers and your robe, and you come to trade and turn on CNBC, and you're doing it wrong, man. I guarantee you. Who was it? Ray Dalio? Like a year ago, 2 years ago, he said, I meditate twice a day in the morning. And did you not watch the Showtime episode Billions? On Billions, Bobby Axelrod, they put a meditation room in the firm there at his place. Why am I bringing this up? Because 90% of trading is emotional. 90% of investing is emotional. Oh my God, I placed this trade and it's going against me. Woo, absolutely not. First of all, as you've learned for the past couple of days, before we place any trade, we know when we're getting out, either for minimum loss or maximum profit. Okay. Now, today is going to be super awesome because, making money is great. Who doesn't like making money? How about making money and saving and changing lives at the same time? This is the only sector I am bullish on for the rest of my life. Why? Because it saved and changed my life. And it's saving and changing a lot of lives of TGO members. Who? Eric's a TGO. I don't know if you're in here, Eric. Eric's coming to our December retreat. I think Mitch is coming to our December retreat. We have a bunch of TGO members that are, they're going to meet Teresa. Teresa's in here. So I love doing this, right? Because making money is great, but saving and changing lives is awesome. Susie and I have been texting with one of our very close friends this morning. Her husband is this morning stepping into ibogaine. He's at the Basi. What do I say at the end of every brief? Basi, which means truth. He's at a clinic in Cabo, one of the C's, Cancun, and he's getting ready to sit with ibogaine this morning. This man is in for the next 14, 16, 18-hour experience, and I'm really proud of him. Circle in the drain. Drugs, alcohol, separation from himself, from his bride. So this is a very, very big day for a buddy of mine. So here's what I want to do this morning. We're going to talk about why this sector is set to explode, and it might just save the world. And you can profit while helping others and maybe even yourself. Like I said, we're having TGO member. If you are interested in that, December 5 through 7, and we're 2-3 more people. This one's going to be a mix of civilians and veterans. This weekend, Teresa, Susie, and I will be up at our retreat center, and we have 6 veterans at this one. So I'm really excited. So everybody should know, if you're new to Top Gun Options, I run the No Fallen Heroes Foundation. And then 3-4 months ago, we just started Sacred Warrior Fellowship. Just getting the website up too. It's rough. Don't poke me about this. They sent it to me last night and they're like, start looking. I'm like, okay, we got a lot of work to do, folks, but it's something to deviate from. So Sacred Warrior Fellowship is an entheogenic church operating under what I protected for 15 years, right? The First Amendment to this country. Congress shall make listen to these words. It's the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law establishing a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. I already shared with you about 4 or 5 months ago, another entheogenic church in Utah got raided by some Utah authorities. A federal judge went ape shit on the government. How dare you? Not only give all the stuff back, and this guy in this church can sue the hell out of you, and I might remove your qualified immunity, right? Judges, DAs, and cops, and they all think, well, I work for the government. If I do wrong, you can't come after me. I have qualified immunity. No, you don't. If you know or should know that you are breaking the law. So we started Sacred Warrior Fellowship so we can sit with the sacraments. As many of you know, this was without a doubt the most spiritual experience of my then 52 years at the time. I lost my faith in God. There was no God, because if there is a God, he killed my sister, he made me be sexually abused, and he killed 16 of my buddies and 4 suicides. Turned me into a drunk and an alcoholic, or those are the same things. Guess what? That's not what happened. So 4.5 years ago, sat with ibogaine, sat with 5-MeO DMT, reconnected with Source, reconnected with everybody who had transitioned. There is no death. It's a higher state of consciousness, and it saved and changed my life. So I started the No Fallen Heroes Foundation to give healing grants to other veterans, first responders, and their families to heal, right? It was insane. That's that little boy from South Jersey. That's my sister, Monica. She was 19 years old. And I'm going to share something with you because my middle son, Jack, just turned 21 yesterday. My daughter, Keely, is turning 18 shortly. When Matthew turned 19 and went through it, I was terrified. I'm like, my God, my father was 19. I can't even imagine losing. When Jack turned 19. So as everybody kind of goes through a 19 age in my family, I'm like, how did my parents do it? And I'll never forget, my dad told me one day, he's like, I had you. He said, Matthew, when they lowered Monica into the ground, I wanted to jump in after her, but I had you. So this was the most spiritual thing that's ever happened to me, right? So what, and you know, obviously that's my wedding. That's one of my groomsmen, Captain Eric Swenson, a beautiful bride and 5 kids. Swede decided he didn't want to be here anymore. So I already told you my transition from The military to the civilian world was an absolute train wreck. I had so many dark nights of the soul. Bathroom floor. What am I doing, man? I'm separated from my God, my bride, my children, my mission. And that was it. I was going to go hang out with Swede for a little bit. It was ugly. It was very, very ugly. And then when I started No Fallen Heroes 4.5, 5 years ago, 22 veterans, as high as 44 veterans, kill themselves every day. That's a mass shooting. Not once a year, folks. Like, could you imagine if 22 kids were shot? Not once a year, every day. Every day. Breaking news. 365 days on the news, 22 kids got shot today. This country would flip the fuck out and do something about it. Veterans? Oh, thank you for your service. Somebody should help them. Yeah, okay. Here's your appointment 10 years from now at the local VA. We're going to throw pills down your throat. So I said, I got to do something about veteran suicide. But what do you do? I stood in this office in front of that whiteboard, and I'm like, how do you keep a veteran from killing themselves? Help them buy a new suit, write a resume, pay the rent? Well, a buddy of mine at that time said, hey, man, there's a group of Navy SEAL vets and Special Forces guys that go down to Mexico and they do psychedelic assisted therapy to heal their trauma. And there's a cool group going in a couple weeks. Would you want to go? And I said, man, go to Mexico and do drugs with Navy SEALs? That sounds like a fantastic weekend. Sign me up. I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into. And I thank God. So everybody in this room probably has seen the movie Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg. If you haven't, read the book, right? So Marcus Luttrell, Navy SEAL, right? That's Marcus right there. To my right, that's Jared Taylor. Anybody drink? I'm drinking it right now. Black Rifle Coffee. That's JT, Jared Taylor, Air Force guy. JJ, he's a Top Gun Options member. JJ is a Navy SEAL who was teammates with Marcus. And then that's Robert Gallery. He's an All-American from Iowa. College Football Hall of Fame, played for the Raiders. I rode with him from San Diego, in the car from San Diego to the clinic in Mexico. Why did you have to do it in Mexico, Wiz? Because if you do it in the United States, in San Diego, you're a felon. If you do it an hour south in Rosarito Beach, it saves your life. Robert, I guarantee you, had horrific CTE. He'll tell you. Why do I say had or have? They don't know you have CTE until you're dead and they open up your grape. They can't tell. It's a post-mortem examination. That's like, Junior Seau and a couple of these NFL guys that have killed themselves have said, Aaron Hernandez, I donate my brain to science. And they open it up and they're like, oh my God, how did this person live? Ibogaine saved and changed his life. Go Google Robert Gallery. He started his own foundation to get Ibogaine to NFL players. Official Robert Gallery on Instagram. He is a different human being. Go watch the podcast he did with Marcus Luttrell. He'll tell you all about it, man. When I met him and drove in the car with that dude in our little convoy, I was terrified sitting next to this guy in the back seat. I'm like, he's deaf. He had big sickle and he was just dead. He's alive now. Ibogaine has incredible neuroplasticity. It regrows dead or damaged neural pathways. And guess what it does? It creates new ones. We helped a Navy SEAL who was a breacher, right? Right at the door. Explosion, explosion, explosion. Dark, black, and gray in his brain scans at the VA. 3 months after Ibogaine, it was completely white. His brain scans were clear. Not a blemish on them. Okay. So what did I do? I got home and I said, well, now I know how I'm going to end veteran suicide, and I'm doing it. I think by the end of the year, we're going to have helped. I think we're going to cross in with December's retreat our century mark. What does that mean? 100 grants we've given out to veterans, first responders, and their family members. Knock on wood, we haven't had a single person come from a retreat and say, complete waste of time. What was that? You guys are idiots. Every single person has said it was one of the most, if not the most, transformational things of their life. Have there been challenges during integration? Yeah. We'll tell you, man, you got a clean piece of paper. Ibogaine has the longest critical window, pink cloud phase, about 4 to 5 weeks. If you go home and you don't integrate, you don't put in the work, you go back to the things that made you sick, you're going to have a hell of a time. But everybody who did go through one of those phases eventually pulled out of it, found their bearings, and rose even higher. So I've been to DC. I stopped going to DC about in 2022. So 2020 to 22, man, I was in DC. You guys saw me meeting with congressmen, senators, everybody. And then I stopped because a Republican congressman from Florida, who's an appropriator, said, Wiz, love what you're doing. I'm like, all right. He said, well, you're going to have a problem with the big pharma and the alcohol and tobacco folks. I'm like, what? Isn't that your job? What do you mean I'm going to have a problem with them? And I was done. DC is disgusting. It's a swamp. It's a uniparty. Back in May, I'm that type of guy. I had the 100-day point on the calendar for this administration. Why? Because that's usually the report card, right? The first 100 days. And they had promised. J.D. Vance was on Joe Rogan as a senator last year, a year and a half ago, talking to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan gave him a brief, a 15-minute brief on the Joe Rogan J.D. Vance episode of, because he's a Marine. The vice president is a Marine. Joe Rogan's like, you haven't heard about psychedelics for veterans? He's like, what? Joe Rogan laid into him and gave him the brief, and the future vice president said, what? Why aren't we doing this? What? Thanks for the brief. And some people gave him shit. I'm like, he admitted he hadn't heard about this, and he was open-minded, and as soon as he heard it's good for veterans, he was in. Okay? Our current Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, was on the Sean Ryan podcast in November. He hadn't even been picked. I think like a week later he got picked to be Secretary of War. Same thing. Sean Ryan went to the same place I did, had the same life-changing session, and was talking to Pete Hegseth about it. And Pete said, yeah, man, I haven't done it, but I've heard a bunch of my bros who have, and we need to do this for our veterans. There's two. And then obviously Robert F. Kennedy. He was running for president as a Democrat. He was asked, it's a very moving video. I can share it with you at the end if you want to watch his words. But when he was running for president as a Democrat, the guy asked, hey, what do you think about psychedelics? And I'll paraphrase, and he said, well, I'm a recovering alcoholic and heroin addict. It sounded like the most awful thing in the world. You're replacing one bad thing for another. And then my wife in 2012 took her own life. And one of my sons was done. He was next. He could not stand the loss of his mom. And then a buddy of his grabbed him and went to Peru. They sat with some medicine, apparently. And when I saw him get off the plane, I knew I had my son back. So I could not be more pro-psychedelic. So on the 100-day point of this administration, I hadn't heard anything. So what did I do? On Twitter, I blasted the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and I blasted the administration. What happened? He answered me. He said, Wiz, we're trying. I'm doing my best, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, Secretary of Veterans Affairs answered me. Then what happened? The next morning, I wake up to a direct message from him, like, Wiz, would love to meet you. We need you on board. You got a big voice. I'm like, I'm flying up to DC next week for a psychedelic conference at the National Press Club. He said, love to meet you. So I met with Secretary Collins. In the interim, guess what happened? There was a cabinet meeting, and I can't stand the cabinet meetings. It's nothing but every secretary kissing Trump's ass for 2 minutes. It's gross. I hate it. But after Secretary Collins kissed Trump's ass in a cabinet meeting, Trump leaned forward and said, what's going on with veteran suicide? And I about jumped out of my skin. I have never heard a president say the two words veteran suicide, let alone ask about it. I was blown away. Secretary Collins, I think he was a little caught off guard, but he was good. He said, well, Mr. President, we're throwing a ton of money at it, and the numbers are the same. if not going up. There are some veteran nonprofits out there that are looking into psychedelic therapy that it looks really, we got to look into it and test it, but it's looking really promising. I started screaming. He didn't say no fallen heroes, but I just talked to the guy. He's like, there are veteran nonprofits out there and they're looking into it. Man, I was blown away. Then what happened? I got home a couple weeks later. RFK Jr.'s exact quote, the Health and Human Services Secretary said what? We want psychedelics in the hands of veterans within the next 12 months. He gave a date. What does Wiz do? Grab his phone and puts 12 months to when he said that. And I'm going to be on him like white on rice. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the way, right? But I'm in an investing brief, Wiz. This all, that was 20 minutes of what? My commit criteria. Step 3 of our trade plan says what? Commit criteria. Why am I committing capital to this trade? Do not ever get into a trade because, hey man, I was at the water cooler during my cigarette break and a guy told me a hot stock tip. You're an idiot. This was all your commit criteria to why venture capitalists, Wall Street, the government is piling into this space. So I want to give you this right now, the most up-to-date psychedelic investment wheel, right? So let me give you this. And as I'm talking, I want all my current members who are in MindMed, who are in ATAI, to tell us your returns. Because I'm going to tell these people, the potential new members at Top Gun Options, about these names that we're investing in and how you can print money. Tell them how you have already been printing money. But let's look at this wheel right now. The closer to the bullseye, you want to hit the bullseye. Closer to the bullseye means what? It's approved. Outer rings is, hey man, we're in like phase 1 trials. Phase 2 trials, the green is like phase 3, and then near approval right there. Okay, so we're going to dig into this. All right. JG, I lost track. ATAI negative. Barry, when did you buy it last week? ATAI, I'm up about 350% in ATAI. Brent, I'm in ATAI, MindMed, and Cybin. Holy shit. Look at these returns, folks. I'm up roughly 15 grand. ATAI covered call. 859%. ATAI, 146%. ATAI, 50%. MindMed, 25%. Pegger, MindMed, 212%. Scott, ATAI, 292%. MindMed, 164%. Mitch, ATAI, 106. All right, look at that. MindMed, Edward, ATAI 258. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Well, let's go around the wheel. 5-MeO DMT. Did you hear last week that Beckley, right, or Gilgamesh was acquired by AbbVie, right? So 5-MeO DMT. Let's go look at ATAI right now. ATAI. ATAI Life Sciences. Look at the run we've seen, ladies and gentlemen. Last full throttle, we talked about it right here. ATAI was at $1.19. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the stock, not the options. It's up 394%. Look at that run. 394% return since April, right? Let's go look at MindMed. I'm going to talk about the individual names. You got to write these down. Look at this. This was the last full throttle in July. Now what are we up since I told you to get into MindMed? Let me grab this and go right to here. Almost 100% return in MindMed from 6. Holy shit, we got as high as 14. You've essentially made 100% your money since the last full throttle. Okay? Unbelievable. So all of these, let me zoom in a little bit. All of these are and you can see the names, right? There's about 30 people. Oh, quick heads up. If you're you sent me an email last week. You want to invest in Demorex. I'm on the board of advisors. This is Dr. Mash. The CFO, John Thomas, was out the entire week at a funeral. So he's playing catch up. So everybody's like, Wiz, I haven't heard from them. He's either going to reach out to you this week or you can give a gentle poke on your own. I made the intro. You can take it for action. Does everybody understand that? Dr. Mash sent me a text like, oh, Wiz, man, he's been at a funeral. My apologies. So there's a tie right there. So this is ibogaine. Okay. So Demorex, ladies and gentlemen, privately held. If all the 12 or 13 people who emailed me, we're going to have close to, 40 people in Demorex. It's a private company, not public right now. Demorex is using nuribogaine. So ibogaine, folks, has 12 alkaloids, nitrous compounds, nitrogen-based compounds. One of them is called ibogaine. Ibogaine, 14-hour journey, all sorts of stuff. Nuribogaine is another alkaloid. It's processed in your liver. That's the anti-addictive compound in iboga. So what they in the West are doing is taking nuribogaine and we're using it for AUD, alcohol use disorder. If you know my journey, if I smelled alcohol, I would dry heave in my mouth. I couldn't even be around people who were drinking. It made me sick. You want to talk about curing AUD? What's it? 30 million Americans report, or the rest are keeping it quiet, report alcohol use disorder. Now, let me tell you something that AbbVie came in and bought Gilgamesh recently, I forget the name of the medicine. I'm not calling it a drug. $800 million they came in and bought it for. If you don't know what I'm saying, here's what I'm getting at. All of these ATAIs, mind meds, working MM120 under mind med, single dose of LSD, what was it, like 70% cure of GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. Folks, these aren't drugs. These aren't Lexapros where you need it for the rest of your life and it's dulling you. These compounds go in and scrub your 5-HT2A receptors. That's what nuribogaine does, and ibogaine. All these receptors that are clogged and have shit and funk on them get scrubbed. So these aren't magic pills. What are they? They're addiction interrupters. It's going to give you a clean piece of paper. What you do with it is up to you. I told you years ago there was a study of heroin addicts. And heroin addicts, when they do ibogaine, it sounds like a horror, but this is how you have to do it. They have to be in withdrawal. These people are like, go watch the documentary Dosed, D-O-S-E-D. I'm really good friends with Trevor Millar. This was years ago when they were in Canada. Now he owns 3 ibogaine clinics in Mexico, but it shows, here's why I bring this up, because a heroin addict, 85% of the heroin addicts who took ibogaine once, first of all, they woke up the next morning and had breakfast. They hadn't done that since they became a heroin addict. And they had 0 withdrawals, none. No shakes, no vomiting, no nothing. They stopped the study after 3 years because 85% of them could never even look at heroin again. They stopped it because if after 3 years you go back to doing heroin, it wasn't the ibogaine's fault, right? So porn, alcohol, coffee, drugs, ibogaine will destroy for a period of time. Many of you know me, after about 8 months to a year, I could have a glass of wine. If Susie and she makes a beautiful ribeye tonight, I'll probably have a glass of cab with her. But guess what? Old Wiz, a glass of cab meant the bottle. For me, maybe 2. It destroyed alcohol in my life. Okay. So that's ibogaine, right? Now, so that's a tie. We'll look at that stock here in a little bit. Obviously, there's Mind Med down here. DMT, mescaline, all these other, and ketamine obviously is what? So folks, look at the ketamine slice. Ketamine's illegal. Spravato. Somebody tell me, it's S-ketamine, right? This nasal ketamine. Somebody, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to my trade floor right now, my research desk. Right? So, you ready? How much does Janssen make from Spravato each year? Because I'm going to sip my coffee. Wow. In the 2024 annual report, Johnson & Johnson noted that Spravato became our 26th platform to generate at least $1 billion in annual revenue. Give me future estimates. Folks, this is S-ketamine. Look at this, folks. You ready? Johnson & Johnson has signaled that they view Spravato as a key franchise for the coming years, with sales guidance, you ready? 3 to 3.5 billion annually in the United States. Now, ketamine, folks, can, you know, I did it just so I could speak to it. Now, let's compare to what's going on at ATAI and do the same thing. That's about as good as my prompts are going to get. Here we go. Thinking. Christian Angermeyer had some great, if you're not following Christian Angermeyer, great venture capitalist investing a ton of money into ATAI, you're doing it wrong. He posts all the time. All right, so here we go. All right, we'll let it think. Let's go look and place some trades. ATAI we're going to lead with, and we're going to get, I'll show you my commit criteria. So here's what we could do. And Uncle Wiz, that's me. I usually, there goes the S&P 500. What's going on here? So Uncle Wiz usually doesn't trade options on stocks under $10. Why? Because the price of the stock is the option premium. That's it. That's what it is. You can just buy 1,000 shares of it or 100 shares of it right now, right? If you wanted to buy 100 shares of ATAI right now, it's $571. Okay. When I'm talking about potential lottery tickets, and I'm going to warn you folks, let me get this out of the way right now. This is the internet, 1999. There's a Netscape and a pets.com. There's an Amazon and there's Google. You buy the right two, you're rich. You buy the wrong two, you're broke. So these technically, folks, they're biotech stocks, man. There are risks trading these. Breaking news, ATAI's thing killed everybody in the phase 2 study. The stock's at 0. Can that happen? Yeah. Will it? No. So there's your brief. There's the risks. These are biotechs technically. But me, I actually don't mind trading the options on ATAI. I have a position on ATAI right now from a couple months ago, up 45%, $1,700. So let's go take a look. It depends on your time frame. So if you don't know anything about options, these are the dates when the options contracts expire. Okay. If you're brand new and you're like, Wiz, I need to start learning how to trade options, you could always just go buy 100 shares of ATAI type of thing. Okay. Look at this. What time is it? 10:34. It's already had nearly 2 million shares traded. Okay. But if you want to give a trade a lot of time to work, you could fly all the way out into the future. And let's take a look at buying some call options, right? And there's a lot of activity in these call options right now, right? We're at $5.71. You see the current stock price? So there's a lot of activity at the money, right? The calls that I'm looking at right here are the at the money calls. There's a lot of activity at slightly not slightly, out of the money calls at 7, held all the way out here. So here's a couple things we could do. We could buy, what if we just bought one Jan 28 $5 call? So ladies and gentlemen, this is a good example of why sometimes I just buy the shares, because one options contract equals you controlling 100 shares of stock. If we bought 100 shares of stock right now, we're paying $570. If we want to control 100 shares of ATAI for the next 3 years or whatever, it's only $375, right? So it's a little cheaper to trade the options in this case, okay? So that's one thing we could do. We could buy one Jan 28 $5 call. You could put that in your filing cabinet and just let it fly, right? Just, Wiz, I'm going to look at this thing in a couple years. Breaking news, because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I go to these conferences, I talk to people, I'm on the boards of publicly or privately held psychedelic. I know what's going on. There is no way Janssen, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna is going to let some little ATAI, MindMed, whatever, cure people. Do you understand me? And I'm torn talking like this right now. As Wiz, I don't want that to happen. As Gordon Gekko, as Jordan Belfort, your Wolf of Wall Street, I want that to happen. I want the big pharma companies to swoop in with their checkbook and buy it. I just told you that Gilgamesh or AbbVie bought Gilgamesh, a Gilgamesh product. They didn't even buy the company. They're like, we want that. We're only in our phase 2 right now trials. I showed you the email from Dr. Mash, right? Let me go, men lie, Dr. Mash doesn't. Let me see if I still got her email. Gilgamesh, let me see if I can search by that. October 10th, was it? Yes, you ready? Because I got a note in my investor box like, hey, go check some documents. I'm like, hey, what is this? Matthew, you're automatically contacted by our nth round upload since you have some skin in the game. Duh. We are working hard to close out this round of convertible notes. It's been brutal to get to the end of it, but I have a few more serious investors looking to come in and close it before the end of the year. The grant award was helpful. We got a grant. The NIH, a government agency that gives badges. We don't need no stinking badges. Well, you do if you want to study Ibogaine. The NIH not only gave us a badge for Ibogaine, they gave us money. The grant award was helpful and the press received was good. You ready for this? And now she talks about the Texas Ibogaine Initiative, but let's get to here. You ready? Here we go. Gilgamesh secured their AbbVie buyout with only 44 patients in a phase 2. They are distributing funds, $800 million to their early investors. Let me translate that. AbbVie did their research and said, holy shit, these are the results. Folks, here's how this goes. Phase 1 trials, a lot of money, a lot of shit going on. Did it work? Yes. Let's go to phase 2 trials. Shitload more money needed and trials and this. Then what happens? If it works, phase 3 trials. A lot harder, higher hurdle. Guess what happens if phase 3 trials look good? NDA, new drug application. Then what happens? Folks, they came in at the beginning of this. Have the phase 2, 44 people in a phase 2 trial. And they said, what? Here's a check. They could find $800 million in their couch. Not saying that's guaranteed to happen to Demorex or all these other companies, but I am saying it's almost guaranteed. This is why investing in these names is critical, because you will wake up one day, 6 months, a year into the future, and you will see it. Breaking news, Pfizer has acquired MindMed. The stock's up 9 trillion % in after hours trading. And you're going to go, thank God I listened to Wiz. Or you're going to go, I'm an idiot because I didn't. Okay? Now, before I keep digging into ATAI, let's go back. I love this, man. This is on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen, is a horror for humanity. There was 25 research analysts at my trading firm in Chicago. They're all fired. Why? Because if I went over the trading desk this morning with my cup of coffee and asked for this, it probably would have taken all day. It took probably 30 seconds. Here's a tight apples to apples look at Spravato versus ATAI. And you could go through all this stuff like this. Did you see what happened a couple weeks ago with the Beckley announcement with ATAI? ATAI's pre-product revenue near-term value hinges on phase 2 to 3 readouts of the Beckley Psytech combination, the nasal spray for 5-MeO DMT. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about it at another time, but I had a great call with Dr. Martine Polanco from the Mission Within. We are moving forward with our 5-MeO DMT retreats. Teresa, I can't wait to brief you with the Camp Mystic female survivors and community. You're going to be blown away. Anyway, all right, here we go. So where it is today, we already talked about Spravato, and then they're in the pipeline. I want to get to what it looks like here. Here we go. This is what I wanted to get down to right here. If what they're doing succeeds and the results are insane right now and launches late decade, 3-4 years from now, plausible low hundreds of millions annually, building to $1 billion over time. Holy crap. These medicines would be additive if successful, but earliest would be 2028. That's fine. Holy crap. And then, yeah, look at this. I can share this with you if you want. But here's what I'm getting at. I already know all of the. Hey, Teresa bought 100 shares. I love it. That is awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to ATAI. So, we can go out to when? Jan of 2028. Buy a single Jan 28 $5 call for $360. Okay? Or you could do what? Well, Wiz, I'm going to buy 10 of them or something like that. Whatever you want to do, right? But I'm cheap, right? So I could just buy this call option, or I could do what? I could sell a higher strike call option against it, right? When you buy something, you come out of pocket. It's a debit. It was $360. When you sell something, what happens? You bring in money. So we could sell an upper strike call against this. So look at this. Now I reduced the cost of this trade to $60. But obviously our profit target's going to be limited. So I'm risking 60 to potentially make 140. So this is when I would do something like this. I would do, I don't know, let's buy 10 call options and let's sell half of those. And I'm going to explain why I would do this, right? Well, check this out. If I buy 10 of the Jan 28 $5 call options and sell half that amount, I'll explain in a second, against it, I'm paying $2,100, but what's my profit target? Unlimited. Do you understand this? Let me explain this to you. Usually, many of you are used to me seeing doing what? Well, I'm buying 10, I'll sell 10 against it. But what does that do? I'm spending $6,000, but it puts a cap on my profit. I put a ceiling on it. I don't want a ceiling on ATAI or MindMed because we're going to wake up and we're going to see breaking news, blah, 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 just happened. Do you understand that? So this is why I leave half of the long calls uncovered. Think of it this way. There's 5 long calls and 5 short calls. That's one trade, right? That is called a bull call spread. So 5 and 5 standing over here. That leaves 5 over here that can run, that can rip. Does everybody understand this? The most you can lose in this trade is what? Let me go mid-market. The most you can lose in this trade is what you pay for it. Wiz, I spent $2,100. They killed everybody in the phase 2 trial and the company's at zero. Well, it was a $2,100 lottery ticket. Now, if the exact opposite happens, holy shit, Janssen just came in and bought the nasal, or yeah, Janssen is nasal Spravato, esketamine. They just came in and bought the Toad nasal for $1 billion. Holy shit, this stock will be at 50. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the trade that I like the most. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this. Why? Because I'm going to send this out as an alert to my current members. But guess what? The only current members who probably don't have this on are you, all the new people who are thinking about joining. ATAI, what's today's date? 10/22. I wonder what's going on with the S&P 500. Are we back in a trade war or something? All right, let me grab a screenshot of this. We're going to talk about MindMed in a second. MNMD. And I'm going to show you an ETF, an exchange traded fund. You know what, Wiz? I don't want to try and pick a winner. Well, you can buy a basket of these stocks right now. If you'd rather buy a basket of them, we'll do that in a second. And I have an existing ATAI position on. Let me show you what it is. ATAI right there. Analyze. Okay. So I have 40/20. This is my trade. I bought 40 of February's. Why? I have a shorter time frame. I think something's going to happen in the next, 4 months. We should hear something. This is more than halfway through RFK's. I want to get psychedelics in veterans' hands in the next 12 months. So mine goes out to February. Okay. But if you want to give yours a hell of a lot more time to work, you do the one that I just showed you. But I bought 40 of the February 5 and I sold the 7.5s against it. Okay. That's my current position in ATAI. But let me show you for all the potential new folks, what we do. I'm going over to what's called the Hunters. You can join our investment club today called the Hunters. New, and you have an app. New ATAI, this tactic, it's not a strategy, is called what? A 2-by-1. I'm buying 2 calls and selling one against it to bring in some money. Okay. So I'm going to hit at everyone. So all 286 members in this group get this alert on their app. Right. So I go grab the image of the trade. In the old days, man, we just had text alerts. It was me sending out literally all the math in like a text. It wasn't that visually beautiful. Now, with apps, you're going to get an image. You're going to get an alert. Oh, need to be in the trade alerts thread. So we have 2 threads, Intel and commentary, where I post all my Intel and commentary, and then another thread where we post trades only. So I'm going to post that. And then my lifetime group, 218 people, our most elite service. I'm going to give you access to lifetime in a couple weeks, and you're going to be able to help fund our Camp Mystic study. If you want to get a 100% tax deductible donation and join lifetime in a couple weeks, we need it because we're going to try and get some funds in Sacred Warrior Fellowship so we can heal these women. This is for potential new members. Why'd I put a 2 right there? Okay, so my phone just buzzed, which means I just got the alert. All right, now let's go back. MindMed, their MM120 medicine is incredible. MNMD. Okay, now Uncle Wiz said, hey, he doesn't usually trade options on stocks under $10 because the price of the stocks, the options premium. But with ATAI, lottery tickets, I'll do the call 2-by-1. Or like Teresa did, or there's a ton of members that are doing what? They just bought the stock, right? But remember, let's go back to ATAI real quick. And Teresa, in training, we can teach you how to do this. Now that you own 100 shares, you can actually sell out to November a call against that position and bring in money. That tactic is called a covered call. You're going to learn about that when you join and you get access to Options Weapons School. I think it's session 3. We talk about this tactic. you can actually rent out your stock. You can sell an upside call against that and bring in money. Okay, and I'll explain that in that training. Okay, let's go back to MindMed real quick. Since MindMed is above $10, the tactic that I want to do is called synthetic stock. And let me go show you my existing position. Where is my MindMed? Right here. This position down here, you can see it right here, is up 150% or 2,500 bucks. I think I did this in the last full throttle. So I'm going to go out as far in time as I can to January of 2028. This tactic is called synthetic stock. Let's go do some math real quick. Wiz, I'm just going to buy 100 shares of MindMed. Okay, do you have 1,200 bucks? Great, buy 100 shares. I wouldn't. Watch what I'm going to do. MindMed is currently at 12 bucks. I could buy an at the money call, right? Remember what I told you, buying a single call option, I control 100 shares of stock all the way out to January of 2028. What did I just do? Wait a minute, Wiz. It's 735 bucks. Yeah. If I buy 100 shares right now, it's 1,300 bucks. I just saved you 50, 40%. You're welcome, right? So the options are always better, in my opinion. But remember this, and we talked about this the past couple of days. When I buy a call option, I'm what? I'm bullish. I'm buying a call option. I think the stock's going up. Somebody has to sell that to me. They are what? Bearish. You're buying that call option thinking MindMed's going up. I'll sell you that call option. I think it's going to go down. So a call seller is bearish. Now let's jump to the other side of options, puts. Most of you have heard, holy crap, the market's imploding. I'm going to buy some puts. That's bearish. If I'm buying insurance, I think it's going to crash. Somebody has to sell you the insurance. A put seller is bullish. I don't think it's going to crash. I think it's going to go up. So why don't we sell an at the money put at the same strike? That gives you what's called synthetic stock. So now it's $185. We went from maybe buying 100 shares at 1,300 bucks to buying just a call option at 700 bucks to doing synthetic stock at 185 bucks. I just saved you $1,200. Do not buy 100 shares of MindMed. Do this. If you have the 1,200 bucks, then raise the amount of contracts to get to 1,200 bucks. You could do 7 synthetic stock contracts for the same price of buying 100 shares. Okay? But let me go back to one contract and I'm going to show you something. Well, hold on, Wiz. If I just buy one synthetic stock position here, I'm risking about the same as if I bought the stock. Duh. You're synthetically long the stock. It's the same risk. What's the max potential loss if you bought 100 shares of MindMed right now? 1,300 bucks. What's the max potential loss if you did synthetic stock? Oh, it's the same as if I bought it, but it's cheaper. But here's what I'm going to do. I never went flying in the F-18 without what? An ejection seat. So I'm going to buy a put underneath this trade in case MM120 does kill everybody. So I'm going to buy a single Jan 28 7 put underneath it. Now what happened? Well, the cost of the trade went up a little bit. Why? You're buying insurance, man. When I pay my USAA bill every month, it's not free. So I bought a little bit of insurance, but guess what happened to my risk? With the synthetic stock position or buying 100 shares, the risk was 1,400 bucks. Now what is it with a disaster put? 917. So if you bought 100 shares of MindMed today and the stock goes to zero, you lose your 1,400, 1,300 bucks. If you do this, you don't. You lose a little bit less. So ladies and gentlemen, this is called synthetic stock. Now, not to super confuse you, you can even sell a front month November call against it and bring in a little bit of money to lower your cost basis, right? Okay. Does everybody understand this? And that's what I've been doing in my Mind Med position. Okay. Oh, it's the 10. Let me go up a little bit. Thank you. Oh, I was doing it based on 10. It's not at, yeah, thank you. Good catch. That changes things a little bit. So he's right. I didn't do my math right. I place my disaster put or that protective put 20% under the current stack price. So yeah, it's about 10 bucks, not 7 like I said. So that actually does what? It lowers our risk even more. Okay? So let me show you this. And let me before if you're sitting here going, "Holy crap, man, that was a lot." It should. You should feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. Over here, you're going to get access to what we call OWS, Options Weapons School, right? 8, 9 sessions. Let me scroll down right here. What's this say? Options Weapons School session number 6, synthetic stock. Okay. So there are 5 other briefs you got to watch to really get you up to speed. And then this will make even more. Okay. So Options Weapons School session starts with, this is the stock market. These are stocks. These are calls and puts. Then we go to like the covered call I was talking to Teresa about. I own 100 shares. I can be cheap and have somebody else pay for them. That's session 3. So we take a building block approach in Options Weapons School. Folks, you watch these sitting on the couch, kids go to bed, or watching Ole Miss, beat up on who they playing this weekend? I forget. Right. And then obviously down here, you get your manuals, stuff to read, right? I read these manuals again every once in a while to knock off the dust. I don't know how much margin required. That is up to you. It's many of my accounts at E-Trade, I have portfolio margining accounts. So I actually technically don't need a disaster put because I have enough money in my account. So long answer to your short question, I don't know. When you go to place a trade, it would actually tell you like, hey, I don't know. It'll say it down here like, hey, this is the result to your margin power, buying power. I don't know, right? So I don't talk about margin because that's between you and your broker. Okay, now I'm going to grab a screenshot of the MindMed and I'm going to send this out also as an alert. So one more time, folks, for all the new people, if you're sitting here going, holy crap, man, first of all, this is my first brief this week. I'm a little behind the 8 ball. Folks, I was born the world's best fighter pilot and options trader. I was going to say you weren't. So I'm kidding. You need to get up to speed, man. A little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of academics, a little bit of the training, and you will be up to speed. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. It's somewhat easy because I've been doing it for 34 years. So this, you should feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. Like I said, make sure you're trading at a broker that has a virtual account so you can play some of these trades in a simulator building, right? Before you place any trades with real capital, you got to know what you're doing a little bit. Or trade one contract, man. Wiz, I'm doing my one contract just so I can see how this works. Exactly. All right, here we go. Trade alerts. New MindMed Jan. What was that? 28, right? There it is right there. So I at everyone again, and they're going to get this alert. If you're in here for free, you ain't getting the alert. You don't have the app, you got to join, right? So I'll tell you how to join the hunters. I think we're going to open up some monthly memberships today. We've just been taking annual folks to today, but we'll open up some monthlies. Let me make sure that's on the replay page. Monthlies on replay page, question mark. Make sure my techie and marketing lady New Mind Med. Before we move on, I'm going to show you this is for potential new members. I love the beginning of this brief where people are showing how much they are printing money in these names. This is fantastic. Whenever I say that, the attorney in the back of my neck stands up and goes, and you can lose all of it. It's the truth. Breaking news, horrible news out of phase 3 trials with whatever. I'm going to give you a little hint. I think there is a 0.01 infinite chance that that's going to happen. My buddy who's getting, or what time is it? I think they were doing it at sunrise. My buddy who's getting ready to sit with Ibogaine, I am so excited for, man. I would never, many of you knew me. You've been here since TGO started in 2010. If 2010 Wiz saw me in a brief talking about psychedelics, I would have kicked my own ass. I would have walked on this webinar and like given me a wedgie and took my lunch money. That guy died on a mattress on the floor of a home in Mexico. Governor Rick Perry doesn't get any more law and order anti-drug Republican than Rick Perry in Texas. He went and did Ibogaine, right? That's how he knows Marcus Luttrell. Marcus Luttrell walked up to the governor mansion and said, I need a place to live. Governor Perry and his bride said, come on into the governor's mansion. And he lived there for like 2 years. So he started AFI, Americans for Ibogaine, right? So folks, I wouldn't be talking about this. Look at that, he's already making money on the calls. Salim, it's called Go Collab, GOKOLLAB. If you're not a member, you don't get access to it, obviously. But you got to join. Let me just show you what it looks like. Blah, 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 blah. There it is right there. Go Collab. Well, the S&P is back to life. Celia, my ATAI position is up 247%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you this right now. Wiz, I suck at picking stocks. Don't say that. Don't ever say that about yourself. Say, I am challenged. Don't talk negatively to yourself. The universe hears that. SIL, PSIL, is what? It's holy shit. Since the April bottoms in that full throttle brief, we are up 100% in this ETF. What's an ETF, Wiz? It's an exchange traded fund. What's that mean? It's a basket of stocks. Wiz, I suck at picking stocks. I am challenged at picking stocks. How about you just go buy the ETF that has ATAI, MindMed, Compass. What's the other one I like in here? NBIX, Neurocrene Biosciences. I don't know the rest of these. You can go look into them on your own. But ladies and gentlemen, as I often tell you, shrimp are a vehicle for eating cocktail sauce. SIL, PSIL, is a shrimp for eating ATAI, MindMed, and Compass. That's their 3 biggest holdings. So many people at TGO just go, you know what, dude, I'm going to buy the basket of stocks. And look, there's the tariff bottoms in April. That's also when I did what? I put that bullish on America trade that is up about 300%, 15 grand for many of you. You're welcome. So if you bought SIL at the tariff bottoms in April, you are up about 100%. Now, remember, folks, you don't make money off the left side of the chart. If you're kicking yourself like Wiz, I wish I had bought it back then, don't say that. We make money where? On the right side of the chart. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be present and we have to project our thoughts forward to make trades today. So if you project your thoughts forward, I'm pretty damn sure this sector it is exploding. One more time, I'm going to remind you, man, I've been on Wall Street. There is no way on God's green earth you're the CEO of Pfizer sitting in your office, reading the Wall Street Journal sitting on a big pile of cash going, wow, I'm just going to let these little psychedelic companies cure and destroy all of our product lines. That's not going to happen. I guarantee you that's not going to happen. Now, I'm going to remind you I'm bipolar, and so am I. I don't want this to happen. I don't want the CEO of Pfizer to come in and go, nice ibogaine medicine you got there. We're going to change a molecule and call it ibogaine and it's 50 grand a month. That's going to suck. It's going to be great for my portfolio. It's going to suck for humanity. But let me remind you of something. Healing is free. God, whatever word you use, I use the word God. God is a smart pharmacologist. He, she, it put all of these things on this planet for us to heal for free. Iboga is root bark from Gabon, Africa. Toad, desert Sonoran toad, is from Arizona, New Mexico, northern Mexico. Psilocybin, I got growing in my yard, man, on a log. Mescaline, peyote, ayahuasca, 2 vines put together. Healing is free. So God ain't going to be able to, or these big pharma companies aren't going to be able to out God. How about that? Preston, if you're looking at SIL, here's the problem with SIL. It's not a problem. It doesn't have a lot of volume right now. 4,600 shares traded hands. Are you kidding me? That could be you. I'm buying 4,600. So the options aren't that active in SIL right now. And they only go out to April. So as more and more people wake up to SIL, this will get more volume and stuff like that. So for this, if you can, you could, there's some activity in these options right here. So maybe a synthetic stock position or just buy the shares. If everybody in TGO, we've done this before. We've done this over the years. If we all bought 100 shares of SIL right now, the ETF would spike. We would actually hit the unusual options scanners or unusual volume scanners, right? Yeah, this is SIL, Teresa. PSIL. This is the basket of psychedelic stocks. You can do both. Wiz, I'm going to pick a couple winners. I like MindMed and SIL. ATAI. Those are my individual names. But I'm going to buy the basket of them too. Because some of those other names, folks, I got to be honest with you, I just haven't taken the time to dig into the wheel and see what those other companies in SIL are working on. Look it up here, man. Look at MindMed, folks. It's on the verge. They're MM120. Oh, you know what? Let's do that real quick. What time is it? I don't want to go super long. Let's go back to our research desk. Give me hedge fund brief on MM120 and what MindMed stock will do in the next year, 1 to 3 years. You ready? Enter. And let's let it think. So MM120, folks. Monthlies today, solo tomorrow. Okay, so it's thinking. Let's go. Here we go. Here's a hedge fund style brief on MM120, focused heavily on its lead drug candidate. I hate it, medicine. MM120. I hate medicine too. It's a sacrament. But here we go. MM120. GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. It has aligned with the FDA on their phase 3 requirements. That's huge. You ready for this? Analyst coverage and institutional interest. Consensus is quite bullish. For example, the average 12-month target, 1 year, folks, is 25 to 27 with an upside of 100% plus from current levels. What is the current stock price? 12. So within a year, the forecast is to double 100% return. Here's the investment thesis, the phase 3 for GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. There's your risks. Holy shit, here you go. Let's go with the bull case, because I know what's going on with MM120 in the studies. Phase 3 positive results, Q1, Q2 of next year. RFK Jr. says that's awesome. I wanted psychedelics for veterans, but it looks like it's going for everybody. 1 year price, 30. I told you last year this is a $50 stock. Estimated 3-year price, 50 to 80. Holy crap. You're going to, in a couple years, send me a nice Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas card with a check to the foundation that says, Wiz, I owe you. I bought MindMed at $12. And I can actually give you know what? This is awesome. I'm going to share with you what my research desk is saying all about this. You don't have to copy anything down. There we go. There's this thread of all the research. Okay. Matt, very insightful descriptions on herbs yet to be synthesized by pharma-savvy persons on earth and concentrate the medicines just like your options wisdom. Share with me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Folks, a buddy texted me. He's like, oh, thanks for your wisdom on all this stuff. I don't know. Wisdom comes from what? Experience. I'm going to share with you a Ram Dass quote. The higher I go, the more I see. The more I see, the less I know. The less I know, the more I am free, right? The more medicine work that I do, the less that I actually need. The more medicine work that I do, the less I know. And that's a beautiful thing, man. When you see these shambros and these, I'm enlightened and wearing my drug rug and my mala beads, man, run from those people. The more of this work that I do, the more that I recognize I don't know anything, right? And that is a beautiful thing. God knows everything. Werner, these are, this is chat. This is why, and we didn't have time this week. Tomorrow we're doing solo Amazon, just our gateway drug service. I didn't have time this week to talk about the AI bubble and how we're going to print money as it pops. Because Werner, I pay $20 a month for Chat GPT 5, if it's $20 a month. Are you insane? This research report would take a week for an analyst to write. It took, what was that? 15 seconds? I could sound like the most smart investor and savviest dude on the world, and it's this. On your screen right now is the end of about 50% of the jobs on Wall Street. I guarantee you. So yeah, there it is. I didn't cover Compass. Let's now give me CMPS hedge fund brief and outlook. Compass is another name that I really like. They do what? Psilocybin. This weekend, we will be sitting with the sacrament of psilocybin. They are in 2 pivotal phase 3 trials. Ladies and gentlemen, the Madras scale, right? Their psilocybin studies are crushing it. Here we go. 12 to 18 months, $10 to $15 a share. 3 years out, 15 to 25, could reach 30 if everything aligns, right? Folks, and remember, all these things are not based on what? Being bought out. This is the math based on just their current stuff. If I stay Compass and if I stay MindMed, this is how we'll do. That ain't going to happen. I promise you. I've been to the conferences, folks. I'm like, the dudes in the khaki pants and the polo shirts are either feds or pharma executives. And technically, they're one and the same, right? They are in here. AbbVie is not stupid. AbbVie poked around Gilgamesh and said, wait a minute, these are the initial results. Give me it. Here's 800 million to your early investors. Let's hope that happens with Demorex. Okay. Slash, great question. Slash, so with a credit spread, slash, I am 789. If I'm seeing a 70, 80, 90% profit on the credit I take in, I'll close it. This is not a credit spread. This is a debit spread. These trades, my personal opinion, slash, is if I can make 100% return on my investment. How many of you have made 100% return? Well, we do it all the time at TGO because look at all the 100, 500, 900% returns in these psychedelic names. Anything north of 100, pigs get slaughtered, right? So slash, you have to come up with that. With these names, I don't have an upside profit target. The 100% minimum, once it gets north of 100, that's when I start looking at the exit like, okay, man, is it time? But with these names, with potential lottery ticket names, I don't. This is, I was about to say drinking money. This is lighted on fire money. So you got to come up with that. Looking at some of your fellow TGO members and their returns so far in these names, it's potential upside is completely unlimited. So you need to come up with that. I can't. Okay. Now, like, what was it? MindMed or ATAI? I have 40 and 20. If we get a super rip and I have 40 contracts and 20 contracts, maybe I go to 20 and 10. Take some off the table, right? Or you can always do what? Holy shit, Wiz, my ATAI calls are up 500%. Close them. Take some profit, and if you still like it, re-enter them type of thing, right? So look at the S&P 500. I want to brief something real quick. We went through 1111, make a wish. It's a God number. We're on the right path. Look at today's S&P 500. We hovered, we bounced twice off of 25. We imploded to 6,700. We went up to what? A 25 and failed. This is S&P 500 trading right here, man. I've been on a roll doing our psychedelic brief. I just haven't had time to snipe right now. Okay. Get out of here. That is fantastic. I'm in the New Mexico psilocybin study at the University of New Mexico. Had my real pill Monday, already sleeping better, thinking clearly. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. I'm glad you posted that. That was a God moment because the working woman's new life hack, magic mushrooms. This ain't High Times. This ain't the marijuana movement newsletter. This is the Wall Street effing Journal. For a select group of high-powered moms, psilocybin has become the answer to a packed social and professional calendar with no time for hangovers. Why? Let me share this with you. If you didn't read this article when it came out, I sent this out ages ago. This is a great read. Why am I bringing this up? Because I'm wearing my merch for a reason, folks. We have our own micro dosing products, and I'm going to give you this link right now. And if you've seen me wearing my cool merch, this is where you can buy our merch as well. Got our Maverick Mind hat on. What is it? It's a psychedelic fighter pilot, man. Let me show you our coin right here. Right? So this is our logo. Psychedelic fighter pilot, no fallen heroes at the top. That's what the back looks like. That's got all my stuff. An F-18, no fallen heroes logo, Top Gun Options logo, my Navy Fighter Weapons School Top Gun logo, and my wings and my call sign. So you can get a coin, but all the other stuff, the merch has our Maverick Mind on here. This is our No Fallen Heroes hat. It actually has the No Fallen Heroes logo on there. So why am I bringing this up? Let me get back to the microdose. First of all, get some merch. Get some merch, wear it, tag us on social media. We need to raise awareness. But folks, for those of you who want to try micro dosing, this is the way. Now I'm going to tell you, underneath the church, we're going to get to the point. Right now, these supplements, ladies and gentlemen, and you can look, let me go back a page. You can Click on them, obviously. I take 2 morning brief in the morning. Some people take 3, some people take 1. You got to figure it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that these contain no psilocybin. But here's what's funny, right? You do not necessarily need psilocybin to get the same effects. Here's what happened in the 60s and 70s. Richard Nixon told a group of young men to go kill the yellow man on the other side of the planet who he's never met before. And they said, we're not going to do that. We love the yellow man we've never met. Why? Well, we took these mushrooms and we love everybody. Oh, you did? Well, those are illegal. Here's your rifle. Go kill people. Uncle Sam, in their knee jerk reaction to want people to kill other people, didn't make all types of, quote, magic mushrooms illegal. So I will tell you that you can get the same benefits of a psilocybin like mushroom with other products. So the Maverick Mind morning brief that I take 5 days on, 2 days off, you give your body, God's a great pharmacologist because if you keep doing psilocybin, it doesn't work. You can't keep it. Folks, this is like cocaine or anything like that. It's natural. So your body gets used to it. So you take a break. I take the weekends off. Okay. Should you feel anything with microdosing? No. What does the term microdose mean? Subperceptual. What's that mean? You shouldn't feel anything. How do you know you're microdosing, Wiz? I know I'm microdosing when, if God forbid, I get stuck on I-95 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in South Florida. Old Wiz would want to be on the hood with a high-powered rifle. New Wiz goes, huh, I can't believe I'm not freaking the hell out right now, and I'm at peace. That's how I know, right? So that's called morning brief, right? And then we have night duty, which I take about an hour before bed, and I sleep like a baby. The dreams are incredible. This is, people swear by this, obviously. You can see all the reviews and everything like that. You can order them as a pack together, okay? So right there, you can click on that one and you get both of them. I strongly recommend if you're, and we do this is what our grant recipients use, folks. I use it. What's that? The Hair Club for Men. I'm not only the member, I'm the president. I swear by these supplements, folks. I will tell you now that we have launched Sacred Warrior Fellowship under the First Amendment, we are actually going to launch another line that will contain psilocybin because it is 100% legal as part of our sacrament. Got to join the church and you got to do all sorts of other stuff. So we are going to make another line eventually. I have like 9 million things to do, but yeah, we're absolutely going to make some of these with psilocybin in it eventually. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. No tanker. No. Nope. I took care of the tanker folks. We're also, you can put this on your calendar, November 10th at 7. I'm going to be launching Sacred Warrior Fellowship. We're going to tell you how you can join our church, become part of our fellowship, join our retreats, and all sorts of other stuff. I'm so excited about everything that's coming. And I love that. You are not broken. You are sacred, right? I remind people of this. Our veterans are heroes before every ceremony. You ain't broken, man. You just need to be reminded of who you truly are. My ibogaine, look at the S&P 500. My ibogaine experience, God reminded me, Matthew, I don't make imperfect things. I can help you with all the crap, but underneath you, you're perfect soul, right? That's why I tell people, and I'm not joking when I say this, if I could kidnap Zelensky, if I could kidnap Putin, and I took them on a retreat, there would be no war. Don't laugh. You've never done it, clearly. It's the truth. Go watch the Joe Rogan episode with Rick Doblin, right? He said, hey, man, I'm trying to bring in a group of Hamas terrorists and IDF veterans who a year ago would cut each other's throats. They did a retreat together and they're best friends. They're going around the world showing the power of this healing. But guess what happened? The Trump administration wouldn't give them a damn visa, the terrorists, to come to the convention. Proving the point that they're trying to prove, like, oh, great, you still think we're a bunch of terrorists? We're not. We are best friends with these Israeli soldiers, and we love them. They are our brothers. And the Trump administration didn't like that. All right, guys, you got to, we are done with Full Throttle. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was Full Throttle. Now we're done. There's the replay page. This replay will be up here. I already gave you your Maverick Mind. Go buy it right now. Try the microdosing. If you want a monthly Full Throttle, okay, let me underneath trade groups here. This is where you can get the monthlies, okay? And I'll give you that link. Putin is the devil. You can't kidnap the devil. He's not the devil. Trust me. I get that feeling and that emotion. It's just not the case. He's a hurting human being. I can't stand him. He's a war criminal. He should be held to account and justice. But man, let me remind you of something that in my journey helped save my life and change how I look at things. God, and again, you choose your word. I'm using God. God loves the person you hate on this planet as much as you. Once you get that, your life will be different. Wiz, would you ever personally do a Bullish on America on the top SPX with OEX? Now, Aaron, I do mine on SPX and I'm good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's scroll down. It's time to get airborne. We're done with Full Throttle today. Tomorrow's solo Amazon, separate standalone service. It's our gateway drug. If you want a monthly membership here at Full Throttle, it's $295 a month. Okay? $295 a month. Now, you do not get access to that investment club called the Hunters that I've been showing you this whole brief. This is literally kind of a longer trial. You get access to 2 live trade briefs each week. You get access to the Options Weapons. Folks, Options Weapons School is $297 on its own. Wait a minute. Why don't I just join for a month at $295? I save $2. I get the Options Weapons School and all the live trade briefs for a week. Duh. $295 a month. Well, Wiz, I actually want access to that investment club, but I still want a little bit of a trial and try it for a couple months. Then you do the monthly Hunters trial at $497 a month. It will give you access to the investment club. I strongly recommend you do neither of these and you do the annual membership. It's $29.95 for a year. Access to the investment club, the briefs, the training, the manuals, access to private investments in Healing Realty Trust, in Demorex, in everything that we do. $29.95 for the full year. Okay. So exactly, Preston. Just do the yearly Full Throttle and thank me later. I agree with you. Yes, I did. I did a bullish S&P 500 trade yesterday. Go watch the replay, right? It's right on this page. It says it right there. Bullish on America trade. Raytheon goes boom. How's Raytheon doing? We covered a bullish on Raytheon trade yesterday, man. Absolutely mandatory. It's holding the gap right now. Raytheon popped 12% yesterday. What's half the gap right there? Look at this, folks. Bullish on Raytheon. Wow, look at that. So, folks, when a stock gaps up on earnings and climbs, it's bullish. Buy it with both hands. I did this yesterday in a live trade brief, folks. I did a bullish on Raytheon trade years out into the future. Go watch the replay. I hate talking about being bullish on a defense contractor as we are talking about healing and no more wars and stuff like that. But guess what? Again, I'm here to teach you how to trade money. What's TMC? I don't know what TMC is. The metals company. Haven't heard of TMC. Thanks, Wiz. Raytheon also has jet engines. Exactly. That's exactly right. Absolutely Raytheon's in everything, man. It is I hate talking like this, but if you listen to me or if you bought Raytheon the day after the attacks in Israel, the stock is up 160%. The options positions that many TGO members are in are up double that, triple that easily. Why? Because war is a racket. War is good for business and it sucks. It's brutal. It's disgusting. I hate it. But guess what? If, there's a saying, only the dead have seen the end of war. And since that's a thing, we're gonna make money. I take my Raytheon profits and I give it to a grant to a veteran who had to face war, right? Wow, we're breaking 60s. What's going on with let me look at my phone here. I got a bull put spread on the S&P 500 that's getting hammered, but something is going on with the S&P 500. Now we just broke 6,700, so it's look out below. Maybe shoot a bear call spread up here to leg into an iron condor. 67.25 maybe. Yep, I would probably do that. 67.25. Well, I'm not going to keep you as I'm doing my sniper shot trading here. Something's going on with the S&P 500. I don't know if Trump said something, but we're about to take another leg down right here to 66.75. So if you're in the bull put spread that I sent out earlier, look at a bear call spread up here at 67.25 to leg into maybe a really tight iron condor for the day. Okay. So, all right, folks, we're done with Full Throttle. We got one more day of live trading and training tomorrow. It's called Solo Amazon. We only trade Amazon in that portfolio, which might be the only stock you need to own because it's just so diversified. Tomorrow we will talk about all this crap, man, with diversification and Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. It's bad. It's really, really bad, folks, but it's really, really good for the stock, right? A visit to a fulfillment center where the machines move merchandise and tell humans what to do with it. Amazon is innovating and it's destroying jobs. Bullish on the stock, bearish on humanity. All right, man, I went way too long. These briefs are usually an hour. We went an hour and a half. Now I need to stretch my legs and get some coffee. Go get your membership. Go get your Maverick Mind on. Order it now. Go get your merch too, man. Wear your merch. Tag us on social media. We'd appreciate it. We need to get our message of healing out there. It's going to take about 20 minutes for me to render this replay and get it posted on the replay page. Okay. One more day, folks. Nobody else does this in the industry. Everybody else charges you to join for a week and check everything out. I do it for free so I can open up the doors and show you how we do regular live trade briefs, okay? All right, I got to get going. Have a great rest of your day. Fights on. Namaste. And Basi. Wiz out. I'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.